Good afternoon, MC's finest. It is a beautiful Thursday, already fast approaching week 5. Wanted to get a quick video up. Missed last week's. Obviously, my heart's kind of not been where it should be. But you know what? I'm feeling pretty good, feeling positive. We'll see what happens. But I wanted to do it for you guys. There's a lot of great matchups this week, a lot of really good matchups last week. I'm feeling really good about getting my first W this week against Javi, so might as well see what happens. But let's do a little quick recap of week 4. I cannot believe we're already into week 5, basically a third of the way through the season already. NFL's been just cruising right along. Been some really good games. Bears are 3-1, hitting the bye this week. So real pumped about that. Like I said, I'd never win another fantasy game if the Bears went to the Super Bowl this year. So obviously, I don't think it's going to happen. But defense is looking real nice. Mitch looked great through 6 tutties against the Bucks. So I'm feeling really good heading into the bye, 3-1, leading the division. The Bears, really happy about that. But more about what you guys are here for, a little fantasy football. So I'll jump in. I'll try to make these a little bit more elaborate than what I did in the past, just running through scores. Obviously, I'll try to keep it quick and easy for you guys. But we'll go from there. So last week, obviously, I gave Dalton a W. I'm not even going to say he earned it. Obviously, he did score 104.8 to my 100.8. You know, I started a negative defense again, third time in 4 weeks. Left 22 points on my bench with Corey Davis. James Conner took his shit on Sunday night. So I gave Dalton this W. I'm okay. I'm a charitable guy. I'll give Dalton that W. He's going to need it. He's only 2-2. I'm only 2 games behind him. I'm feeling all right. Looking at it, though, he was led by Cooper Kupp, obviously 28.2. He had that huge Thursday night. Everybody counted me out, which was fair. Obviously, I didn't win anyway, so they were correct. But fought back. I think my team's talented enough. Hopefully get Joe Mixon back this week. Gronk's obviously hurt again, surprise, but I think he'll play tonight. I just need him to start picking it up. I was led by Deshaun Watson with 31.1. So, like I said, I feel good about my team. Just need people to get healthy and start scoring. Obviously, when Bell comes back, which he announced he should be back week 8 after their week 7 bye, I might be scrounging for another running back. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge. If I do lose this week to Jabi, however, 0-5 is monumental panic button mashing time. I'll probably be moving some guys, Gronk and Mixon and maybe DeAndre Hopkins, and moving some of these better players that I got. Just start playing for next year, or I'll just try and start a whole Bears team. I'll get Mitch in there and Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen and give me Allen Robinson, Gabriel. The third receiver, I'll start Anthony Miller. Give me Trey Burton. I'll start a whole fucking Bears roster because then it'll be fun for me to watch. Anyway, enough about my team. 0-4. Dalton bumped up to 2-2. Right in the thick of the middle of that division there. So we'll see. It's going to be a dogfight. I really do. I think our division is going to be a coin flip. I don't think Mike's team is as good as his 3-1 record. And I don't think I'm as bad as my 0-4 record. So we'll see how it rolls out. Moving on to the other matchup. Jabi, unfortunately, was the number 3 scoring team. Lost to the highest scoring team. A score of 159.7. Highest score ever in MC's finest history. As far as I'm aware, checking the record books from Brock. To Jabi's 122.5. It was a fun matchup all week. Luck led Jabi with 35.7. Kamara led the way for Brock with 36.1. Even both teams lost some points on the bench. I mean, Jabi made a ballsy start with Hines from the Colts, caught 2 tutties. But Brock's talent just too much to overcome there for Jabi as they put off a huge week. So Brock and Eric moved to 3-1 in their respective division. Jabi down to 1-3. So pretty much a big week for both me and Jabi as we play each other. You know, hopefully I could push it to 1-4, make Jabi 1-4, and climb my way back. I don't think Jabi's ready to hit the panic button yet. He fights, but we'll see what happens. Maybe he's in the market to move somebody. Moving on to Nick Pabone versus Andrew, 2 new owners squaring off again. Nick took Andrew to the woodshed, 131.1 to 87.8. Nick was led by none other. Melvin Gordon is one of his best players. He's got a lot of them. 23.9. Andrew was led by Phillip Rivers with 21.7. Andrew is still 2-2, right in the thick of it still. I think second spot in that division is going to be up for grabs. A lot of people favoriting Nick and Brock. Obviously, they're both 3-1 in their divisions. Really good-looking rosters. But you never know. 2-2 squads. I think Gabe is 2-2 as well. He is. But we'll get on to that. Obviously, I will also look forward to Week 5 in the next little segment here. Looking over, Mike Scott took a pasting this week. He only put up 66.3. That's why I don't think his team is as good as his 3-1 record states. I mean, we'll look into it. Obviously, he was led by David Johnson with 15.2. This is David Johnson's best game. Mike came in with 3 really good-looking running backs with McKinnon, Howard, and David Johnson, and all 3 have done next to nothing. He had Demaryius Thomas, who has been almost non-existent. Aaron Rodgers, who's been way down compared to what everybody projected him to be. So Mike could really be facing an uphill battle. Obviously, he's got Michael Thomas, who's a stud. He's got Zach Ertz, who's a stud. I think Marvin Jones is a really good player. But Mike should probably make some moves. I mean, obviously, he acquired Juju Smith-Schuster. Could be a big boost for his receiving core as well. So we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, they were led by Zeke Elliott, had a 30-burger himself. Huge game for Aaron and Nico as they move up to 3-1. And I think their team is actually the best-looking 3-1 team, obviously, in our division, outside of Mike. So I think, I think their team, outside of injury, with Nico, with his luck with injuries, you never know what's going to happen. But I think their team is pretty much locked in as one of the playoff teams in our division. And we'll see what happens. I mean, you never know what could play out. And then last but not least, it was Adam squaring off against Gabe. 90.7 victory for Gabe over Adam's 82.3. Adam was led by Carson Wentz with 20.7. Pat Mahomes led the way for Gabe with 22.9. Been his best player all year. Is going to keep riding him, even maybe against Jacksonville. We'll see what happens with that start. But once again, I think Adam's in the other division. He's 1-3, sitting at the bottom of that division. Gabe right in the thick of it. Once again, 2-2. So Week 5 going to be big for a lot of teams, I think. With that being said, Week 5, little preview here. Looking at Week 5, got a big division matchup. Me and Jobby, obviously. A loss here pretty much writes me off for the year. W gives me a little glimmer of hope for whatever I can do. I'll be pretty much fighting the rest of the way, getting W's where I can, making trades to avoid bye weeks, things like that. I'm gonna have to get a little ballsy if I want to make a playoff push. Jobby's projected at 93.5. I'm actually projected one of the highest in the league at 112.1. I have not hit over 100 at all. Or no, last week was my first week over 100, and it was by 0.8 points. So I don't know if that's going to happen, 112, but we'll see. Never know. I got some really good matchups. Feel good about the Titans D this week. I finally maybe have a defense that's going to score some positive points. It's not been a theme so far, so we'll see what squares out. We got another big matchup. I think this one's going to be fairly easy. We got Aaron and Nico going up against Andrew, 3-1 versus 2-2. Andrew could come up with a big upset. Trust me, I hope it happens. I just don't really foresee it. Andrew is projected 86.4. Aaron and Nico, the favorites at 100.3 projection there, so about 14-point favorite to open the week. But Andrew, hey, I'm praying for an upset, buddy, because I need it. It's bad. My selfish ass, I need that W from you. Plus, I would push Andrew to 3-2, get him right in the thick of that division as well. So Andrew's really looking for the dub. Got Windy City boys, Brock and Eric squaring off against Adam. They are projected to beat him 92.9 to 81.2, so about a 12-point spread there. Adam really needs a dub here as well, especially with how tough that division is. A couple 2-2 teams ahead of him, 3-1s. Not saying Adam's out of it at all. His scoring's been way down. But if he can turn it around, obviously a huge upset this week. I'm going to get him right back in the thick of it. But if he starts 1-4 in that division, I think it's going to be really tough for him to make the playoffs. Looking over at Nick and Gabe's matchup, this is big as well because a victory here for Gabe would put him at 3-2, put Nick at 3-2, depending on what Brock does. Obviously, there could be a big clusterfuck at the top of the division for that group of guys. Gabe is projected 97.7, great, to Nick's 106.5. So Nick, once again, projected pretty high, about a 9-point favorite there. So that's a big matchup, I think, one of the matchups of the week in terms of, two good teams, playoff positioning, stuff like that, interdivision matchup, which is important. So those two teams to square off as well. And then last but not least, another big matchup here this week. I think even maybe bigger than the other. You got Michael Scott squaring off against Dalton. Mike 3-1 against Dalton's 2-2. Dalton projected, this one's really close projection, just a half-point difference. Mike projected to win 95.8 to 95.3. Huge matchups, like I said, across the board. This would put Dalton and Mike both at 3-2 with a Dalton victory here. I'll have to look at the matchups to see who's projected, obviously throughout the teams and stuff. Everybody, please get on too if you can. Get on the matchup, not on the app, just on the computer or on the browser version on your phone. Go into the matchup, and then you can actually comment on who you think's going to win. You can vote on the side. You can do all that cool stuff, and then that way it keeps everybody involved. I really like it as well. I try to get on there every week, at least on a couple matchups, if not all of them. I try to do them all at once, just get it knocked out. But that's our Week 5 preview, guys. I'll be checking back in with you next week. We'll go ahead and recap Week 5, take a look at Week 6. Activity's been great. The chat's pretty solid. A lot of pickups. It's still moving a lot of trades. Like I said, we're not even halfway there yet. I mean, the halfway point for us is pretty much Week 7. Once Week 6 is complete, that pretty much puts us at the halfway point, as we have 13 regular season weeks. First round of playoffs Week 14, championship Week 15, and then 16 and 17 we let go to the sides. Now, I think maybe in the future, what we're going to do after this year, everybody will get an option to put up one thing they want to propose as a change for the league going forward next year. I think everybody will vote on it, so you'll create a poll. You'll say, this is what I want. It's going to be based on per team, not per owner. But you'll say, I want to switch to a half-point PPR. All in favor say yes, all opposed say no. We'll go majority wins. So 6-4 would be majority. If it's tied, it stays the same. I'm totally cool with that. So everybody will propose a thing, whether they say, I want 6 playoff teams instead of 4, and we have 2 wild cards. So let's say we have the top 2 seeds from each division, and then the rest is maybe highest scoring points or based on best record or whatever. We could add 2 wild card teams in, and then we can play to Week 16. Like I said, we can add all sorts of different wrinkles, and we'll vote on it. That way you guys can get in terms of just making sure your opinion feels like it's valuable and it's being listened to. Obviously, if there's something that somebody puts out there like, oh, we're going to add super flex and we're going to start 2 defenses, I'm not going to mess with that shit. But we'll still put it out there. But if something's like, if I'm strongly opposed to it, we'll talk it over as a league before we just say boom. But if it's 9-1, and even if I hate it, I'm the only one, fuck it, we're moving it through, man. I got to deal with it. So, if you don't want 3 keepers, you only want, I think only 1 keeper should be kept, and I think it should be dynasty style, to where if you find a guy like Kamara and he's 13th rounder, you can keep him forever at 13th round. That can be added into. We could maybe go total redraft, whatever anybody wants to say. Like I said, we'll put it out there. Anyway, I'm at about 13 minutes here. Hopefully this video doesn't stop running here. But congratulations to everybody so far. Obviously, been a tough little start for me. If I go 0-5, I'm cashing in, getting the best keepers I can, and then I'm out. Brock will take over from here. I'm done. It'd just be a tough year for me. Focus on all my other shit. And I'll check back in with you guys at the end of the year. But enjoy Week 5, guys. Got a big week on deck. Should be fun. And we'll go from there. I'll catch up with you guys for the Week 5 recap and looking ahead to Week 6. So have a good one, guys. Good luck. And